We have finally made it to year number 6 of the San Francisco Giants franchise here on MLB The Show 24. This was supposed to be yesterday's upload, and then, well, stuff happened, and I had to go banner hunting. So here we are a day late, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different for this season. Now that we've won our World Series, I think it's time to speed things up a little bit before we get to the long-term simulation. So the plan is that we're going to get through this regular season, I think, in 3 episodes. By the end of today, we will make it all the way through the month of May. So we've got 3 months to go through with spring training and the first 2 months of the regular season. It was an exciting offseason for us, giving Tommy Rogers a big contract, extending guys like Sandy Alcantara and Ian Happ, while adding some arms to the pitching staff with Edwin Diaz, Walker Buehler, and Chase Dollander through the Rule 5 draft. Now, we lost some familiar faces as well. I did not want to lose either Jojo Romero or Felix Bautista, but they ended up taking pay raises in Minnesota and Milwaukee, respectively. The longtime Giant Logan Webb is a Philly, while Jose Ramirez is a Baltimore Oriole. I feel like our team got a little bit younger while still keeping most of the core together, and I think we're in a good spot to potentially run it back for year number 6. But before that, though, I do want to go over the international free agents of this year's class. We had a couple 7-point players on the wheel, including Ignacio Albu, who ended up with the Boston Red Sox. And of course, this is the 5th and final international free agent cycle. So all the remaining points that teams had left, they used them here. Of course, as always, the spreadsheet for the international free agents is down below in the description if you want to take a look at not just this past season, but all the seasons of international free agents. I'm trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to implement custom players in MLB The Show 25, because I may end up doing some things a little bit different compared to what we did this season's cycle. International free agency isn't in the game, of course, which is certainly unfortunate. I'm hoping that they add it along with custom draft classes. Not that I'm counting on it. I also want to shout out the A's real quick with Lucas Hornick. He was originally a 2-point player, and they ended up getting a 7-point player in him thanks to the wheel. So the wheel did them a solid. But I do briefly want to talk about MLB The Show 25 over the next couple of minutes as we continue to look at the international prospects. I'm probably going to have a more official video within the next couple of weeks, starting to talk about some teams that we can consider. And I'll be honest, yesterday I did a little bit of my opening preparation in terms of determining some teams I would potentially be interested in. It feels like it's now that time to truly get started in figuring out who we're going to be using next year. I'm also going to try to figure out what the format of the episodes is going to be, because I think I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I haven't exactly decided, and again, I'll probably have more details to share within the next couple of weeks. But I do think I am going to format the series a little bit differently, mostly in order to get through more seasons, because compared to basketball and certainly football, things take a little while to develop in baseball. Obviously, with the draft, most of those guys go to the minor leagues, and even if they make it up to the bigs, it takes them a while to get good. Look at someone like Scott Rios in this series, for instance. We drafted him all the way back in season 1. And here we are towards the end of the series, and he's still a fringe major leaguer. Now, obviously, he's still a really young piece at 22 years old, but that shows how long things take to develop in baseball. Let's meet our international free agent prospect, Apollo Knight, a catcher hailing from Australia. We lost Vicente Alegre to the Rule 5 draft. I figured he'd be a good addition. We only had to spend 1 international free agency point on him, and he ended up being a 2-point player, so a little bit better than what we bargained for. We're going to add some arms to the 40-man roster, most notably Rodney Bravo, a high potential prospect for us. I would argue the best player in our system, to see what he's made of here over the month of spring. In terms of what we're going to do with the lineups, it's mostly going to be a lot of the backups getting most of the playing time over the first couple of weeks, and then we're going to kind of transition it into more of the starters getting loose over the final couple of weeks, so they'll be ready to rock and roll for the regular season. The same can be said with pitching, and we've got to figure out who our number 5 starter is going to be. It'll probably be Walker Buehler to open up the year, but Scott Rios, Chase Dollander, maybe some of the other guys will have an opportunity to potentially take that spot. So let's simulate to the end of the spring. Thankfully, nobody ended up getting injured, which is a huge relief. Remember last year, Kyler Rodriguez missed the first month and a half of the year because of an injury he suffered in spring. So we go 17-13. Now, interestingly, the first half of the spring, where we had most of our backups in, that's where we played better. We were 10-5. And then when the starters were starting every game, we ended up going 7-8. With our hitting production, there was a noticeable split. Half of the team played really well, and half of the team really didn't play well. As we look at our top OPS guys, it's Tommy Rogers, the $300 million man, picking up where he left off. Stone Garrett was good, Johnny Hackman, Kyler Rodriguez. But then look at this. Nobody had an OPS between 700 and 900. What are the odds of that? That's like a pretty average OPS for a regular starter. Nobody was in that range for our team. It was 700 and below, or 900 and up. I don't get it. As for the pitching, Mickey Manzanillo, the former high draft pick, was probably the biggest standout. Chase Dollander was really good as well, which was nice to see. Dollander, being a Rule 5 pick, cannot be sent down to the minor leagues, but if he does struggle, I won't hesitate to send him back to the Rockies. After all, he is just a big flyer, but I felt like in the Rule 5 draft I couldn't pass on that upside. We are going to make a quick trade, though. Luis Toribio was projected to make the opening day roster, but he was passed up by a younger guy who had a really good spring. Toribio has been in and out in the majors. Over the last 5 years, he has played a big league game in all 5 seasons, but he's never really had a major role for us. He's never played more than 17 games in a year, only 55 games in his career. I think he's earned the opportunity to get some actual playing time. So he will be on the move to the Houston Astros. We'll be getting a few prospects back, including Ward Herzog and Guadalupe Campillo. I remember both of them through scouting. They were both pretty high draft picks, along with Jamie Montano, who is mostly a filler. I figured we could add him as well. So the deal is done. We had a couple C potential prospects in exchange for Luis Toribio, who will now be a regular starter with the Astros. So now we've got 13 guys to send down, as I mentioned. Chase Dollander will make the opening day roster. He will be used as a reliever while Walker Buehler opens up the season as the 5th starter, and we're going to send all these young guys down, including Scott Rios, who played a little bit in the big leagues last year. He was on the roster in the postseason, but if we're not going to get him playing time in the big leagues, we might as well have him down in AAA. He still has 2 more minor league options left, and he was a little inconsistent last year, so maybe another season in the minors continues to help his development. I'm going to have to send down Mickey Manzanillo. That one hurt because he played really well here in the spring, but he might get called up sooner than later, and certainly Scott Rios if somebody gets injured or is struggling. Elijah Warren will make the opening day roster. I said somebody took the spot from Toribio, and it's him. 2nd round pick all the way back in year number 1, which has turned out to be a great draft. Kyler in the 1st round, Rios in the 4th round, Fernando Molina in the 3rd round, probably is the best player of that group right now. But Elijah Warren will get his opportunity while all of these shortstops go down to the minors. And then in the outfield, we'll send down Brendan Davis and Simone Vincent. So there we go. We've got our 26. The biggest surprise probably being Elijah Warren. But he's going to take a bench role after having a phenomenal spring. We've got a few guys due for extensions this offseason. When I say a few, I mean about half the roster pretty much. The big 3 here, though, is Kyle Harrison, Jung-Hoo Lee, and Blake Sabol, who are all obviously very key pieces of our team. And we're not spending that much money. Obviously, the Tommy Rogers deal is a big one, but that's going to really kick in a lot of money later. Right now, it's not that much. That's the only long-term financial commitment we have. So if we want to extend one of these guys now, I think we can. And the choice between the group feels pretty clear to me. Jung-Hoo Lee over the last 5 years has been pretty unbelievable. Nearly 900 hits, 95 home runs, 321 average, OPS at 900. He's averaged a WAR of 7.2 over the last 5 years. I mean, he has been as good as it gets. And when we look back at this series, whenever it ends in the next month or so, I guess, not only will Jung-Hoo Lee be on the Mount Rushmore of great players, but he might be the number 1 guy on that list. He has been that good. 5 years, $135 million with a mutual option. He says yes. He's not making that much more money than he was previously. This is around $27 a year. His previous contract had him making around $18. As for Sabol and Harrison, I'm not going to offer them extensions right now. I'm not opposed to bringing either of them back, but Sabol's game, it has its limitations. And then as good as Kyle Harrison is, I am concerned about the medical. He has missed 10-plus starts in 3 of the last 4 seasons. And that's a real concern. Even though his durability rating is pretty high, he hasn't necessarily shown that he can stay healthy for a full season, with the exception of year 3 pretty much. So that brings us into year number 6. We're going to start the season on the road against the Padres. Our home opener is also against the Padres, and given that we just won the World Series, it would be kind of cool to play the home opener. But opening day is opening day, so we're going to play the game in San Diego. And then again, the plan is we're going to make it into the month of June. I'm going to play 2 games today like normal, and we're going to do a lot of critical situations. This is what the lineup is going to look like to open up the year. Not much different from last year. Jose Ramirez is gone. We replace him with, I guess, Elijah Warren, but pretty much the exact same group offensively, bringing guys back like Ian Happ, J.P. Crawford, and Brendan Donovan. The pitching looks a little bit different. Walker Buehler slides into the rotation. Chase Dollander now in the bullpen. The big losses, though, for me are Felix Bautista and Jojo Romero. Without those guys, we do not win the World Series last year. They were 2 of our best players in the postseason, so we're going to be calling on Camilo Doval to be a little bit more consistent than he was last year. And Edwin Diaz is going to have a huge role. I am very excited about his addition, and I think him and Doval are going to be a fun duo. And I think the rest of the bullpen is certainly good enough to warrant our trust. So it should be a fun one. Sandy Alcantara on the bump against Trevor Rogers. I would think this is the first time we have a new opening day starting pitcher. I'm pretty sure Logan Webb has probably been the starter in each of the first 5 seasons of the series, even though Kyle Harrison's been better than him for a little while, and Sandy Alcantara passed him pretty much right as we traded for him. But Logan Webb has been the ace of the staff. It's going to feel weird not having him around because he was one of the few players from the OG roster still here. I think Kyle Harrison, Jung-Hoo Lee, and Camilo Doval are the only guys who were on the big league roster in episode 1 who are still on it today. So Trevor Rogers is getting the start here for the Padres, who have been a consistent playoff team over the last couple of years, but they haven't been able to get over the hump. Hasn't been easy with us and the Dodgers in the division as Tommy Rogers, the $300 million man, first at bat with a new contract as a strikeout. Speaking of extensions, Jung-Hoo Lee launches it into right center, and the Giants are on the board. Tommy Rogers and Jung-Hoo Lee are the 2 best players on this team, so it was imperative that we extend these guys as soon as we can. They are a combined $450 million richer, and certainly deservedly so. They were the 2 best players for us in the regular season last year, our 2 best players in the postseason. Lee starts his season with a home run. I'm going to try to get through these games a little bit quicker, given that we're going to be doing a lot of critical situations. But here is Sandy Alcantara, 2.71 ERA, 1.07 whip a year ago. And most importantly, he was serviceable in the playoffs, which has been the hiccup for him. Tommy Edman goes down looking. The Padres, might I mention, have already played 2 International Series games against the Dodgers. They won both of those games, so they are 2-0 as Alex Kirilloff grounds it to third. A quick 1-2-3 inning for Sandy Alcantara here in the Giants opener and the Padres home opener, as that will bring us into the bottom of the second. Again, looking to keep things a little bit faster. The Padres looking to match the home run by Lee, and they will do exactly that. Jackson Merrill with a long bomb into right center field. That one is gone, and Slam Diego on the board, tied at 465 feet. Good Lord, that ball went a long way for Merrill to tie this game up. We'll see if the Padres can look to do some more damage after tying it. Certainly one of the longer home runs you will see hit off of Sandy, as that brings up Willy Adames. He lines it into right, and that one goes for a hit. Of course, this Padres team is built around pretty much every single player on this team, having started off as a shortstop, including this guy, Fernando Tatis Jr. Lines it into left, off the wall. Tatis rounds first, heads to second, and San Diego is a pair of runners in scoring position with nobody out. This inning has started off as a disaster. That'll bring up Manny Machado, batting in the 8-hole, up the middle, base hit. 1 run scores. Tatis looks to join. The throw from Rogers is not in time. 3-1 Padres with the base knock by Manny Machado, still getting the job done at like 36 years old at this point. Kanan Smith and Jigba draws a walk, and things are going from bad to worse for Sandy Alcantara. Did somebody tell Sandy that this is a playoff game? Bogarts over to first. Rodriguez deflects it, flips it over to Alcantara. Not a particularly good second inning for us, though, as the Padres score 3 to take the lead, and our offense certainly needs to respond. Jung-Hoo Lee, the only base runner for us so far. Brendan Donovan is up, puts this one on the ground, deflected by Bogarts, and the throw to first is not in time. An infield single for Brendan Donovan, who we decided to bring back on a mutual option this past season. And so that will bring up Tommy Rogers, coming off his Silver Slugger campaign a year ago and his awesome playoff run. Singles it into center. We're going to hold Donovan at second. And after the big inning by the Padres, it looks like we're responding. 2 runners on base, 2 away. Huge at bat here for Stone Garrett, coming off a career year last year as that one goes for a base hit. And we are going to send the runner. The throw from Tatis is in time! Part-time ball player, full-time sniper. Fernando Tatis Jr., as usual, putting on a show. Bottom 3. Willy Adames sends this ball to orbit. Deep into right center field, and the Padres add to the lead. It's now 4-1. Sandy Alcantara continues to struggle. This is certainly uncharacteristic for him. We signed Sandy to a big extension. We chose him over Logan Webb. Obviously, it's early, but it hasn't aged well through his first 3 innings. He does get Tatis to go down on the 12-6 curve, a good way to end the inning. But right now, San Diego appears to be in control. They lead it 4-1, as that'll bring us into the 4th. Munetaka Murakami, coming off a career year himself, arguably the best hitter in the National League. Did not play well in the postseason, though. We're hoping that's not a trend as Ian Happ launches it into left, flips the bat, and that one is gone into the Western Metal Supply Company building for a 2-run shot, and it's 4-3. We decided to extend Ian Happ this offseason. Even though he's getting older, he is still really, really, really good. Looks like we're going to have a lot of runs in this game. Both aces not pitching their best as it's 4-3. Kyler Rodriguez draws a walk. Another base runner here for the Giants. 2 away now and a full count for Brendan Donovan, who reached aboard safely his first time up, and he draws a walk. Trevor Rogers is having a hard time finding the strike zone right now. We've got 2 aboard off of walks. Tommy Rogers now has a full count. And he draws a walk. Not an easy pitch to lay off, the outside slider. So Rogers has loaded the bases, and the Padres are going to have to make a pitching change. His control is all over the place right now. Trevor Rogers cannot find the strike zone. 3 2/3 innings, having allowed 3 earned runs so far. We'll see if that number goes up with Emmett Sheehan coming in to replace him. Now this is our kryptonite. The bases being loaded. But I feel like last year we actually did really well with the bases juiced. We might finally be getting away from the narrative that started all the way back last year with the Marlins franchise. 2-2 for Jung-Hoo Lee, our best contact hitter, who puts it right on the ground. Maybe the narrative is not dead. Good inning, though. We get the 2-run homer by Ian Happ, but it feels like we could have gotten more. Happ up in the 5th, flies it into left, and this one has some carry near the wall, where it is eventually caught, and so Sheehan looking good, 4 up, 4 down. We're going to make a pitching change going into the bottom of the 5th inning. 4 innings, 4 earned runs from Sandy Alcantara. He certainly has had better games. Pitched fairly well in the 4th to, keep the game afloat, but certainly not a great opening start for him, and we're hoping this does not continue. I want to see what Chase Dollander is made of, so we're going to bring him into the game. Former top 10 pick out of the University of Tennessee, a highly regarded pitching prospect with the Rockies, where it just hasn't really worked out. But I think given the talent, it was worth taking a flyer on him in the Rule 5 draft. I figure, what's the worst that can happen? Xander Bogaerts hits this one down the line, and Dollander's first at bat with the Giants is not a good one. Bogaerts rounding into second, safe with a double. San Diego opens up the inning with a runner in scoring position, and now we've got to see what the youngster can do. Will he get us out of the jam? He did have a good spring training. As Jackson Merrill, who homered earlier, goes down on the changeup. Great pitch there by Dollander for the second out of the inning. Now Willy Adames, who also homered earlier, goes down on the curveball. Good inning for Chase Dollander to get us through. It remains 4-3 as we go into the 6th. Should be a very exciting final few innings as the Giants look for win number 1. The Padres at 2-0 looking to avoid their first loss. Kyler Rodriguez up the middle. Going to be a close play for Adames. And they say he's out. Good throw there at short. We're going to take a look here, and I think we're going to challenge it. We only had the challenge until the 7th inning, so I figure why not? That's a really close one, but I think in real time he is out. The play will stand. Johnny Hackman, the former first-rounder out of Michigan, grounds it to second. Good hustle over to first. He is safe. Big year for Hackman. I'm curious to see if he can take another step. I thought he was really good last year despite a bad playoff run. As San Diego goes back to the bullpen with Colby Allard, and we're going to go off the bench here, bringing in Elijah Warren. He will replace Brendan Donovan. I want to see what this kid is made of. Former second rounder out of Virginia Tech, 26 years old. Works the count in his first career at bat, but he flies it into right where it is caught by Fernando Tatis. So it remains 4-3, as that will bring us into the bottom half of the frame. Chase Dollander is still in against the talented young catcher Ethan Salas. Grounds it past Warren for a hit, and San Diego's got a runner aboard. Salas, a former top prospect, hasn't developed into the guy they thought he would be, but he's still only like 22 years old or something ridiculous. As Manny Machado up the middle for a hit. Salas for third. He's out! Tommy Rogers, 5-tool player, baby. Obviously, we know the speed's there. The overall offense is there. But if he can improve defensively, we might literally be looking at the next Mike Trout. We're going to bring in Genesis Cabrera here for Dollander, given the potential lefty-on-lefty matchup upcoming. With JoJo Romero gone, Cabrera is now our number one lefty arm out of the pen. It's going to be a big year for him, and that's a good start as he strikes out Cannon, Smith, and Jigba. Cabrera had a great season last year. I think his ERA was pretty much equal to that of JoJo Romero, but not quite the dominant pitcher that JoJo is, and we will move into the seventh. Tommy Rogers looking to reach base yet again, and he will! Third time today, 2 hits and a walk for Tommy, looking good in his first game back. Now 21 years old, he can legally drink, and well, he can probably do a lot of things with $300 million. As that brings up Stone Garrett, 2-2. Wow, that was quite the pitch by Colby Allard. It was like up and away, and then it hangs all the way down in a scary quick amount of time. Munetaka Murakami is up. Rogers swipes for second. He is safe. I want to see him become a better base stealer as well. He's one of the fastest players in baseball, but he just doesn't have the instincts on the bases that, say, Ronald Acuna or Ellie De La Cruz have. As Murakami puts it in the gap, that should score the run. Rogers is home with no problem, and the Giants tie it at 4. Tommy probably would have scored anyway, but hey, we'll take it. A good swing by Munetaka Murakami, led the National League in home runs and RBIs last year. Drives in his first run of the season. Ian Happ hits this one high and deep. Another pitch with a lot of movement. Happ gets a piece of it at the track, and it's caught. I was hoping maybe that would have enough to make it over the fence. Not quite, but we do tie the game. That might change, though. Bogarts in the left. It is gone! Scrapes over the fence, and the Padres are right back ahead. Bogart still has a good 5 years left on his deal. That contract has not aged gracefully at all, but he's playing a good game today, and he puts San Diego ahead. Runner on first now, full count. Jackson Merrill draws a walk. That was a close one. Genesis Cabrera is not looking too hot, though. We're going to take him out, and we're going to bring in Edwin Diaz, his first game, his first opportunity here as a Giant, and we're putting him in a pretty critical spot in this game, down by 1, with 2 runners on base and now 2 away for Fernando Tatis, who is behind in the count, 1-2. What will Edwin Diaz bring here? Swing and a miss on the slider. So he gets out of the jam in what ends up being a very eventful inning. We score 1 in the top half. We allow 1 in the bottom half as that brings us into the 8th. Bob Mayo is out of the bullpen here for the Padres. He will face off against J.P. Crawford. Coming off the bench is a pinch hitter. Up the middle with a single. So Crawford is aboard with 2 away. And we'll see what San Francisco can do. A huge at-bat upcoming for the youngster Elijah Warren, who's behind in the count, 1-2. And Warren flies it up into center. Should be caught pretty easily, and it will. Into the bottom of the 8th now. We find ourselves down 5-4. We've got some work to do. We're going to keep Edwin Diaz in the game for now. I think he's got enough energy to make it through a couple more batters. Manny Machado, 4 for 4. As this one is roped down the line, looking for an extra base hit. He's going to hold up at first, though. Doesn't have the speed he once did in Baltimore. But a runner aboard here nonetheless. 2 away, Tommy Edman. Grounds it to third, Murakami flips it over to second. So Diaz gets through, and going into the 9th, we find ourselves down by 1. Let's see if the Giants can pull off the comeback as the Padres bring in the closer, that being Gregory Soto, the lefty, who looks to save it here for the Padres. He's been bouncing around over the last few years with the Phillies, Yankees, Twins, and now the Padres. He's completing the holy trinity of teams that make the playoffs every year and lose in hilarious fashion. Tommy Rogers, the top of the order, leads things off, and this one is into the gap, his 3rd hit of the game. Into second with a double. Tying run is in scoring position, and it happens to be the fastest man in the league. Some of our best hitters are due up. We're in a good spot here to get this run, but we're not looking for one. We're hoping for more. Not an easy pitch to lay off for Jung-Hoo Lee, but he does. It's a walk. First and second. Nobody out. Garrett up the middle. Base hit. Rogers rounds third. Looks to score. This game is tied at 5, and we've got 2 guys on with still nobody out. So the Padres are going to pivot. They're going to turn to the former Giant, Gabe Spire, who, if you remember, we traded for him at the season 4 deadline. So he was only here for a couple months. I don't even think we had him on the postseason roster. But here he is now with our rivals at San Diego, looking to get them out of the sticky spot here with 2 runners on base in a tie game. Ian Happ chases the slider. That was not your pitch. He goes down, and now a huge at-bat for Blake Sabol. I'm going to keep him in here over Patrick Bailey. I trust Sabol in the clutch. 99 clutch rating. But he pops it up into center. It is caught by Tommy Edman. I feel like we wasted a golden opportunity there. I'm happy we got the 1 run. We keep the game alive, but we had 2 on with nobody out and could not score them. Ian Hamilton, the former Yankee, comes into the game. His Giants debut. I thought about Camilo Doval. We've got him loosening up, but I want to see what Ian Hamilton can do in a very big spot. 2, 3, 4 hitters due up, and Bogart singles into left. So the Padres get the winning run aboard with nobody out, and the heart of the order due up. What a golden opportunity for them awaits. Alex Kirilloff now belts this one into right. Could this do it? It goes off the wall. Bogarts heads for third, and they wisely are going to hold him. So now there is second and third, nobody out, and we're going to do something a little bit unconventional here. We will intentionally walk Jackson Merrill. The only runner that really matters is the runner at third because he's the winning run. So this way there's a force out at every base. We don't have to face off against one of their better offensive players in Merrill, and we get to take Ian Hamilton out of the game and bring in Camilo Doval, because if there's anybody who's going to get us out of this spot, it would be him. Bases loaded, nobody out. Padres just need 1. The infield is playing in, the outfield is playing in. As Adames flies it to center, this could do it. It's caught by Rogers. Runner looks to score. The throw is not in time. And the San Diego Padres win it on a walk-off sacrifice fly by Willie Adames. They win it 6-5. So the Giants lose their first game of the year. We are currently on pace to finish the year 0-162. Is it time to panic? I don't know. We did have some guys play well. Tommy Rogers got on base 4 times in this one. Sandy Alcantara did not have a great start, although I do think the bullpen, other than Ian Hamilton, was pretty solid. San Diego hit the ball well, though, pretty consistently. 14 hits, 6 runs, compared to 11 and 5 for us, with homers by Merrill, Bogarts, and Adames. Trevor Rogers did not have a good start. 5 hits and 4 walks allowed, but the bullpen really did a good job of calming the storm. So we're going to simulate here through much of the remainder of the month of April, and we're going to meet back up and chat where the team is at the end of the month. So let's hop into this second game here against San Diego, our very next matchup. Stone Garrett has 2 home runs, and he's looking for a third against Gregory Soto, and he chases the circle change. That was 100% not the pitch to swing at, but Garrett would get another opportunity, and the bases are loaded. So Tommy Edman would tie the game. However, we would regain the lead in the 10th, and now the bases are loaded with nobody out. Surely we don't find a way to mess this up, right? Garrett pops it up behind 1 and 2. Ethan Salas is under it. He will make the play. There's no way we get another at bat here, right? There's no way we find a way to blow this. And we would blow it. We let the bases loaded with nobody out. Manny Machado would tie the game with a sac fly, and they're not going to let Garrett hit again. Intentional walk. Ultimately, we would get the job done with 3 chances to get the 3rd home run in this game. Doesn't happen. Elijah Warren with an RBI walk to finish the game, and we end up winning our first of the year 5-4 in extras. For the critical situation games, I'm not going to really dive deep into all the box scores for saving time, but I wanted to look at this one, being that we went through 12 innings. Nobody had more than 2 hits. Garrett went deep twice. Bailey did as well. Pretty good start by Kyle Harrison. Camilo Doval, though, blew the save. You hate to see it. So that's going to send us to this Dodgers series. We would split the 4 games against the Padres. This is the first matchup against LA on the road. We're down 2-1, but we've got 2 runners on base, 2 outs, top of the 8th. Big opportunity here upcoming for Ian Happ. Facing up against Justin Lawrence. He's ahead 3-1. Puts it on the ground, and Mookie Betts makes the play. Sends it over to second, and the Dodgers get through it. But we would end up winning by the final score of 6-3. We would score 5 runs in the ninth. Most notably, Elijah Warren, 2-run homer. First of his career to get the win, as we would end up sweeping the Dodgers. Looks like we still own them. We get offered a trade from the Rangers, Maximo Acosta for Johnny Hackman. I think I'm good. A couple days later, Leonardo Alfaro, torn labrum. He's one of our better prospects, out for the year. That one really sucks. So now that sends us to our first home series of the year. We're playing against the Padres again, and this is the first game. Scoreless in the 8th. Guillermo Torres has thrown a one-hitter for San Diego, while Fernando Molina and our pitching staff has done a really good job as well. But the Padres have loaded the bases. 2 away. Ethan Salas with a huge at-bat. Chase Dolander's in, and he's pitching fairly well, but I think I trust Edwin Diaz a little bit more in this spot. First pitch for Salas, puts it on the ground to second. Ian Happ makes the play. Throw to first is in time, and the Giants are able to get through it. We're on the other end. San Diego leaves them loaded, and we're going to go now bottom 10. Still no score. Nobody wants to win this game. We still only have 1 hit, but we've got 2 runners on base. Ian Happ is up against the lefty Colby Allard. So a big spot here for Happ to look to deliver, and he will not do so. Pops it up, shallow outfield, and it is caught by Xander Bogaerts for the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Patrick Bailey. He has our lone hit today, looking for a second, and he will! Singles into center! The runner is sent home! The throw to the plate is not in time! And the Giants win the home opener with a walk-off single by Patrick Bailey. Jun-Hoo Lee scores the winning run as we take it 1-0. Guillermo Torres pitched a gem for the Padres. 8 innings, 1 hit. He only struck out 2. Everyone put the ball in play. They just couldn't hit the ball. Bailey, 4 for 2, including the walk-off. The rest of the team, though, goes 0 for 27. And we still won. That is crazy. So we would end up losing the last 2 games against the Padres, unfortunately. That brings us to this set against Washington. Tied at 4. Bottom 10, looking for the walk-off. Runner at third, 2 away here for Munetaka Murakami. Lines this one into left center. That's going to do it. Another walk-off here for the Giants, as it's Murakami who brings home Leody Taveras, and we end up taking the win by the final score of 5-4. That'll bring us into the very next game, and we've got an opportunity for another. Runner on first, down by 1 with 1 away for Leody Taveras, and this one is hit high and deep into center. Back at the track, at the wall, it is gone! Back-to-back games with a walk-off for the Giants. Leody Taveras with the home run to win it, his second of the year, 420 feet, as the Giants back-to-back games with walk-off wins, both by the final score of 5-4 against the Washington Nationals. We would end up sweeping the Nationals, as that brings us to the Trop against the Tampa Bay Rays. Top of the 8th, bases loaded. We scored 2 in the last inning. We're looking for some more here. Knowing this team, though, I am sure they will screw it up, as Ian Happ goes down on the circle change. Brendan Donovan's a good clutch hitter. He's 2 for 2 today. Look, I believe in him in this spot, and he chops it over to short. Junior Caminero makes the play. The throw to first is in time, and once again, the Giants leave them loaded. Who could have seen that one coming? Gabriel Moreno with a solo homer. That ends up winning it 4-3. So the Rays take this one over San Francisco. We would win the last 2 games. We would win the first 2 against the Marlins. But Jun-Hoo Lee, broken shin, out for a month or 2. That one really blows. Through 17 games, he's having another really good year. 4 home runs, 284 average, OPS above 920. WAR is already at 1. He's been the most valuable player on the team since episode 1, so we're going to have to find a way to replace his production as we call up Brendan Davis in his spot. That brings us to this series against Arizona. We trail 5-4. We have scored all 4 runs in the 9th inning, though. Can we pull off what would be an improbable rally, starting the inning down 5-0? Leody Taveras is up, had a walk-off homer earlier. He might have just done it again. Into left center. That ball is gone! Another walk-off for Leody Taveras. The Cardiac Kids strike again. How many walk-offs is this team going to get? We're at, like, what, 4, I think, in the last week. That's incredible. Leody Taveras with 2 walk-off homers in the span of a few days. George Groniga, torn MCL, done for the year. One of our A potential prospects in the farm system. That one really sucks. I was excited about his development, but he's going to be sidelined for the rest of the year. We are now nearing the end of the month. Overall, the team is playing pretty well. We are currently in second place in the NL West and the number 1 wild card, as that brings us to a series against Pittsburgh. 2-1, bottom of the 9th. Nobody out. Kyler Rodriguez, one of our faster base runners, is aboard. Let's see if we can get another walk-off, shall we? It's Johnny Hackman who starts the inning. Hackman's having a pretty solid season. We're going to go through everybody's numbers here at the end of the month, but I've been impressed with Hackman as he lines this one into left, and that one will one-hop off the wall. Kyler Rodriguez will hold at third with nobody out. I figure it makes sense to play it smart, but now a base hit probably ends the game. It would score both of these runners. Brendan Donovan, great clutch hitter. Now he's 0 for 3 today. We're hoping for the opposite from the game against Tampa Bay. As this one is put on the ground, we're going to send the runner. Donovan is out at first, but more importantly, we tie the game at 2. Hackman makes it to third. So if this ball is put well into play, we should be golden. Tommy Rogers, that should do it! It likely will be caught in center, and it will. But Johnny Hackman is going to score with no problem. A walk-off sacrifice fly by Tommy Rogers in the final game of April to win it 3-2. Now, we haven't been playing our best baseball at the moment. We would lose this series against the Pirates. We lost our last series against the Mets. But at 18-11, it's hard to be too upset with how the team has performed through this first month of the year. As I mentioned, we're in second place in the West. The Dodgers are currently in last, and it shows given that they lost this game 18-1. We swept the Dodgers. It looks like we continue to own them after going a combined 15-1 against the Dodgers a season ago. We started the month off really hot. We've cooled down since. The Padres, meanwhile, have won 9 of their last 10. They look like maybe the best team in baseball. I'm certainly surprised about the Dodgers, though, as we look at the rest of the standings. The Pirates are playing well. The Braves are leading the East. Slow start for the new-look Marlins. The AL is very competitive and very mediocre as usual. Nobody in the AL East is above 500. Everybody's in the race for the Central other than the Tigers. And then in the West, it looks like everybody but Seattle. The biggest storyline through the first month of the year is that after having a great season last year, Tommy Rogers has taken another leap. 370, 5 home runs, but what gets me the most excited is the plate skills. 18 walks to just 15 strikeouts. Tommy Rogers is drawing walks at an elite level. I used to pray for times like this. His walk rate at over 15% is doubled his career high. His strikeout rate is well below his career mark. He is balling right now, but unfortunately, the rest of the offense has been generally mediocre. Jung-Hoo Lee was playing really well, and obviously Rogers has been unbelievable. But everybody else has just been kind of coasting through the first month of the year, and it's April. I'm not going to panic. But nobody else has been all that impressive, although I do like what I see from Elijah Warren. He's been quite good. The pitching staff as well, nobody's really been all that impressive. Mason Miller has struggled, so if he continues, Scott Rios may very well replace him. The bullpen's been quite good, though. Yariel is balling. Schreiber, De Los Santos, Edwin Diaz, even Chase Dollander. Camilo Doval has been the most inconsistent of the bunch, but he hasn't gotten that many opportunities to pitch. So again, I'm not too worried. We're going to play against the Dodgers here in the middle of the month, see what their issues are, I guess. We would sweep our opening series at Fenway against Boston, and that brings us to a 4-game set against the Phillies. The squad is continuing their hot start to May as we lead at 9-2. Ian Happ looking for his 3rd home run. Certainly possible in a very hitter-friendly ballpark. Against Scott Barlow, the former Giant, and this one is popped up and should be caught by the big free agent signing, Anthony Volpe. Good win for us, though. We won the last game against Boston 12-5. We win this one 9-2. We need the rest of the offense to click. Tommy Rogers has been maybe the best player in baseball, but everybody else has got to pull their weight. We would end up winning all 4 games against the Phillies. We are 7-0 so far in the month of May. We're up 3-2 here in the 9th against the Rockies, looking to turn 2, and we do. Yunkel Fernandez grounds into a double play. Good work by Camilo Doval in the infield. So now we've just got to get one more out against Sterling Thompson. And this one is crushed into right. Hackman at the track, at the wall. It goes off the tippy top of the wall. Thompson, round second. Risky decision to head for third. He is barely safe. He 100% should have held up at second. The game was on the line there, but I guess it works out. Lonnie White hits it into center. That's going to drop. A blown save for Camilo Doval. And the San Francisco Giants have blown another save. Adael Amador looks to win it for the Rockies. Draws a walk. Our, 9-game win streak, whatever it's on, it's in real jeopardy right now, as that'll bring up Kevin Peralta. 2 on, 2 away. Camilo Doval, what do you have in your sleeve, buddy? The count is 1-0. This one on the ground, off his foot. Donovan, throw to first, is in time. Camilo Doval's foot might have just saved the game, because that was going to be a base hit. We made the decision to trust Camilo Doval there, and it almost backfired. But luckily, we're able to get through it, and we do get the win. Tommy Rogers' RBI double. Ian Happ brings him home with a double. We end up winning it by the final score of 5-3, upping the win streak to 9. That's all she wrote, though. We would lose the next game against the Rockies as we get offered this from the Pirates. Andy Rodriguez for Johnny Hackman. I'm going to say no. So a really good start to the month, but we just got swept by the Cincinnati Reds. We were 27-12. We were 9-1 through our first 10 games, but certainly a pump the brakes moment for us. We're going to play the last game against the Dodgers. I want to use Walker Buehler, so we're going to hop in this game, 2-1. Bottom of the 8th, we've got 2 guys on, and they will intentionally walk Kyler Rodriguez. They want to set up a force out at all 3 bases, and so that'll bring up J.P. Crawford here with 1 away in a huge spot in this game. Liner to first, it is caught by Shanuel. Luckily, the runners are able to make it back, but now there's 2 away. We have left the bases loaded like 3 or 4 times today. There's no way we do it again, especially with Blake Sabol. 99 clutch, great power against righties, and he lines out to third. Great. Best of all, we end up losing this game. The final score 3-2. Julio Cesar Enciso with a homer for the Dodgers. Brendan Donovan would get one for us, but that would only cut the lead to 1. We lost the first game of the series against the Dodgers as well, so for those counting at home, we've lost 5 games in a row. And we might have lost our magic versus the Dodgers. We went 15-1 against these guys last year. We swept them in April, but the blind squirrel is finally finding a nut. That'll bring us into the third and final game of the set. We've got to stop the 5-game losing streak before it spirals even further. The former Dodger Walker Buehler will be on the bump against his old squad. Now, Buehler, we did not sign from the Dodgers directly. He has spent the last couple of seasons with the Kansas City Royals, but obviously he's been with the Dodgers for a while, won some championships with them, and it'll be fun to see him in action. 99 career wins. Hopefully we can get number 100 today. As we take a look at both lineups, still feels weird not having Jung-Hoo Lee. We have certainly missed his production over the last few games, looking for some more consistent offense. The pitching rotation has been inconsistent, but Walker Buehler has pitched quite well. 2.84 ERA, 1.24 whip. You can make the argument that somebody in that rotation might have their job in jeopardy over these next couple of starts, but it's not him. He's balling as Willie Castro goes down on the knuckle curve. Good pitch for Buehler. Buehler. That'll bring up Nolan Shanuel, who puts it on the ground past the glove of Stone Garrett for his single. Of course, Tristan Casas was here. He left in the offseason to sign with the Marlins, but they replace him with Shanuel because the Dodgers are just a well of talent who continues to add anyone and everyone. Kyle Tucker on the ground. Murakami makes the play. That one actually was a liner. So we get through the top of the first as we take a look at Landon Knack, who has not been great for the Dodgers this year. 4.67 ERA, 1.65 whip. He is getting wins, though. 3-1. My favorite pitching stat. Wins and losses. Here is Ian Happ. He goes down looking on the low fastball. Good pitch there by Knack. We'll go bottom 2. Not much offense across the board. Blake Sabol goes down on the fastball. Sabol only hitting .210 right now. He really has not looked like himself this year. Johnny Hackman now, as I mentioned, he has been pretty impressive. A lot of the guys on the offense have been disappointing, so it's been nice to see him step up. He does fly out to right, though, caught by Kyle Tucker. And so that will bring us into the third. No score, only 1 combined base hit so far. We'll see if this is the inning where he can finally get some offense. Dalton Rushing starting over Adley Rutschman. He will go down on the circle change. Nice pitch there by Walker Buehler. J.P. Crawford is up, hitting around 240. Could be better, but could be worse, I guess. As he goes down looking on the fastball, Knack still perfect as he's struck out 3. That'll bring up Leody Taveras with 2 away. Liner into center. 9 up, 9 down for Landon Knack. He has been very good up to this point. Jarren Duran is the one who makes the play. Another one of the new additions for this Dodgers team who has unlimited money, just like real life. That'll bring us into the 4th now. Will this be the inning where we get some runs? Nolan Schanuel up for the Dodgers, coming over from the rival Angels. As Garrett will look to make the play. He deflects it. Sends it over to first. It's in time. But Stone Garrett got injured on that play. He hurt his back. I was looking forward to giving Brendan Donovan a day off. His energy bar was really low, but the off day lasts about 3 innings. We're going to move Donovan to short. Crawford will slide over to third while Murakami finds himself at first. Shohei Ohtani, boop, off of second base. What in the Dodger devil magic was that? Were they working with Patrick Mahomes there? I mean, my goodness, that has to be the luckiest play I've ever seen in my entire life. Kyle Tucker now up with 1 away. He goes down looking. We're going to have to get 4 outs in this inning, and we would. Scoreless into the 4th. Tommy Rogers goes down on the fastball. Rogers' average has gone all the way down to like 330. He is still playing at an absolutely great level. As Murakami, finally a base runner, sends this one into the gap. That one will go for a double. Munetaka Murakami is hitting under 200 this year. He usually starts seasons off slowly, but, I mean, yeah, there's no defending that. He's drawing walks, he's hitting for power, but the contact has been a disaster. With 2 away, Donovan on the ground. Dodgers make the play. We are still scoreless through 4 as Jackson Holliday makes the play for L.A. Into the 5th now. Julio Cesar Enciso is up for L.A. looking to get the scoring started. Not going to happen there. He goes down on the 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Jackson Holliday now up here for the Dodgers. Count is even 2-2. This one is hit well into center. That's going to drop for a hit as Leody Taveras decides not to go for the big play. If that ball gets by him, it's a triple. So sometimes you just got to play it safe. Jarren Duran is up. Runner goes for second, and he is out of there. Blake Sabol behind the plate. Part-time ball player, full-time sniper. Jarren Duran ahead in the count, 3-1. Duran hits this one well into right center. This one plops perfectly into Triple's alley. Takes an unlucky bounce for the Giants as Duran, with 90 speed, waltzes into third with a triple. That would have scored Jackson Holliday had he not tried to steal. But a good swing for Duran nonetheless. Dalton Rushing looks to bring him home. He will line it into right. Hackman is under it. He makes the play. And through the middle of the 5th, we are still scoreless. Bottom 5, can the Giants offense get something going here? I feel like the Dodgers have had more solid hits throughout the game than we have. Let's try to light a spark. Let's get something going here. As Crawford grounds it to second, throw to first is not in time. Good hustle. Jackson Holliday trying to set his feet, but he cannot do so in time. Runner on, 2 away, and a 2-2 count for Kyler Rodriguez. Checks his swing, did not go around. Oh, wow, I think we got lucky there. Dodged a bullet. I thought he did go around, but hey, I'm not complaining. Count is full now, 3-2. This one is skied into left center. I don't think that's going to have enough to really do much damage, as it is caught by Julio Cesar Enciso. Still no score going into the 6th. I guess neither of these explosive, high-octane offenses are going to look to get anything going. Walker Buehler's still in the game, at least for now. No reason to take him out yet with how well he's performed. But he will allow a walk here to Willie Castro. We certainly don't want to see him allowing too many base runners. Nolan Schanuel gets that one by Donovan. Single into left. 2 on, nobody out. Nice little opportunity here for the Dodgers. And I think for now, we're going to trust our guy, Walker Buehler, facing off against the great Shohei Ohtani. This one is hit well into right center. Hackman looks to make the play. He cannot, as it goes off the wall. The Dodgers will get 1 and only 1. They were preparing for us to catch that ball. It's an RBI double for Ohtani. LA finally with some runs on the board. It's 1-0. And we're going to replace Walker Buehler. Really good 5 innings out of Buehler, and then it's just kind of falling apart here. Allowing 3 base runners. One of them scores. The other 2 have a good chance to do so, being that they are in scoring position with nobody out. we're going to bring in Yaniel De Los Santos to look to steer the ship. He's allowed just 1 run in 10 1/3 innings, playing some good baseball for us. We'll see if he can keep it going in a huge spot, not just in this game, but in our season. We don't want to lose 6 games in a row and be swept in consecutive series. Kyle Tucker, liner into right, and Hackman will make the play at the wall. That should be able to score the run, though. It is a successful sacrifice for Tucker. That makes it 2-0, while Shohei Ohtani advances over to third. So now there's another runner 90 away from home and a big opportunity for the potential first ballot Hall of Famer Mookie Betts. He's been quiet so far today, 0 for 2. The count is 2-2, and he lines this one into left center. Shohei will score with no problem. It's 3-0. We had no offense through 5 innings, and now the Dodgers have exploded. Mookie looks to go for third, and he is out by a mile. Leody Taveras bobbled it in the outfield. That's why Mookie Betts kept going. So the fumble by Taveras proved to be a good thing for us, and the lead stays at 3. Speaking of Taveras, base hit into left. So we get a runner on to start the 6th. If they're going to score 3, we've got to punch back. We can't let them build up a nice lead late in this game. Tommy Rogers has been quiet, 0 for 2. We could use a big game from our superstar. Not going to happen there. He goes down on the check swing, went around on the low slider. That'll bring up Ian Happ. Full count, 1 away. Happ draws a walk. That was a toughie to lay off, but luckily we will. And now there's 2 on, 2 away. Brendan Donovan lines it into left. It is caught by Enciso. And unlike Walker Buehler, the Dodgers and Landon Knack get out of the jam. 6 scoreless for Knack. As we go into the 7th, another pitching change. I thought Yaniel De Los Santos did pretty good overall, but he will not return, and it'll be John Schreiber. 6 2/3 innings. He's only allowed 1 run so far against Jackson Holliday. Lines this one into left center. The Dodgers clearly are not done, looking for more. Holliday into second. He will settle for a double. And the Dodgers open up the inning with a runner in scoring position, and that'll bring up Jarren Duran. Safe to say his tennis rack was ready this time. A 2-run blast for Duran. That's his first of the year. He's been banged up and hasn't really gotten to play a whole lot for the Dodgers, but he's been awfully productive in this one. Triple in the last inning, goes deep here. And LA adds to the lead. It's now 5-0. Nolan Schanuel lines it into right. Off the wall. Exit velo of 110. Could have maybe been a little bit more if that ball had any sort of launch angle. But it is a 2-out double. The Dodgers with another runner in scoring position. And it is showtime. 2-2 for Ohtani. He puts it on the ground. It stays fair. And his Japanese teammate, Munetaka Murakami, will tag the base. Dodgers add to the lead, though, 5-0. As Landon Knack's day is done after 6 phenomenal innings. And he will be replaced by Jalen Beeks. His first appearance of the season. 4.74 ERA a year ago. With 2 away, he will face off against J.P. Crawford. Finds himself ahead 3-1. Crawford pops it up. It looks like another scoreless frame here for the Giants. The offense just has not shown up in this game at all, and they really haven't shown up in the last week. Since the losing streak began, we haven't scored more than 4 runs. Ian Hamilton comes out of the pen for the 8th, had that rocky opener, but has been awesome since then, allowing just 1 run since opening day against San Diego. Mookie Betts up with 1 away. Looks like that pitch was in the strike zone. Doesn't matter if he went around or not. Strike 3 regardless. Jackson Holliday now up. Runner goes as this one is popped into left. Rogers jogs under it, makes the play. We've got 2 innings to come back down 5 to try to stop the losing streak. Not going to be easy, given that the offense really has not shown any signs of, figuring it out. Jalen Beeks stays in the game. Tommy Rogers, a hat trick. 3 strikeouts for him. A rare poor performance in what otherwise has been, of course, an MVP caliber season. And now they will bring in Phil Maton for the bottom of the 9th. They don't need to use the closer, being that it's a 5-run lead. Let's see if we can get any sort of fight from the offense as Murakami has a full count. Tough pitch to lay off, but he does, and that one goes for ball 4. So he finds himself aboard. That'll bring up Brendan Donovan, 0 for 2 since checking into the game, replacing Stone Garrett back in the 4th inning. This one is up the middle. That goes for a hit. Okay, now we're starting to get something going. Would have been nicer if it happened in any of the other 8 innings, but I suppose better late than never. Maybe we do have a chance. Blake Sable ahead in the count, 3-1. and he pops it up. That was the at-bat that we really had to capitalize. Even if it was a walk, he was ahead 3-1. Man, if we wanted to come back, I think we needed a big play from Blake Sabol. He finishes the day 0 for 4, the average scraping close to 200. Johnny Hackman, game on the line, single into left. Okay, we're going to leave the bases as be. They are loaded. I should have sent him home just for the fact that now we have to deal with the bases loaded, which means we're in trouble. Jorge Lopez out of the bullpen now for the Dodgers as they look for the last out. It's J.P. Crawford. Bases loaded, down by 5, 2-2 pitch, and he pops it up. That one does not go across home plate as Dalton Rushing will make the play, and the Dodgers complete the shutout 5-0 and a sweep over the San Francisco Giants, who have been swept in 2 consecutive series and have now lost 6 games in a row. The offense is what lost us this one. The pitching wasn't perfect, but we had 5 great innings from Walker Buehler before he kind of fell apart in the 6th. 5 runs, 2 hits, 1 extra base hit. I mean, that's just not going to be enough. The bullpen wasn't great. Buehler obviously had that rough inning, but it wasn't their fault. The offense, they had a rough one. We've got some work to do now. The Padres adding to their division lead with this losing streak. They are now up by 2.5 games. We're looking to rebound against the Rockies. Carson Whisenhunt getting the start in Game 2. He hasn't been too bad this year. The Pirates, though, have been really good. 27-18. Riley Green is first in the NL in WAR. Jared Trujillo is in the top 5 and then in the MVP race. Henry Davis is in 3rd. And Jordan Beck, of all people, is in 2nd. For those wondering where Tommy is, he was 3rd before that last Dodgers game, so he is firmly in the mix. After the Pirates, we have the Mets and the Phillies, both of whom have not been great this year. As we hop into this Rockies game, we are looking to end the losing streak, tied at 2, 2 on, 1 away. Kyler Rodriguez swinging a miss against Jim Kane. It's the circle change. 2 away for Stone Garrett, first pitch, over to first, and Jean-Antoine Leroux makes the play. Giants fans are used to seeing a guy named Kane performing on the mound as he's able to get out of the jam. Alec Thomas with a sac fly in the top half of the 10th. He homered earlier in the game. So now bottom 10. Certainly doable with the runner at second. Eddie Maramalejo on the mound. The talented A potential reliever. He will walk Murakami. And now the winning run is at first base. Patrick Bailey sends this one into right. Bloop for a hit. We're going to look to tie the game. Ball goes to the wall. Murakami holds up at 3rd. Bailey is safe at 2nd with an RBI double. This game is tied at 3. Blake Sabol, I know it's a lefty, but I trust the 99 clutch rating and it pays off. Single into left, that'll do it. A highlight in what has otherwise not been a good season for Blake Sabol. The 6-game losing streak has snapped. We would sweep Colorado, and that brings us now to the Pirates series. Pittsburgh has been one of the most pleasant surprises in baseball this year. Their lineup, the best in the league right now. But we get out of the jam in the bottom of the 8th as Jared Trujillo, one of the many breakout stars for this team, puts it on the ground. Trujillo's been a good player for them for a little while. He's not coming out of complete nowhere, but certainly didn't expect him to be this good. Giants end up getting the win 4-3. We have now won 4 in a row, so we're building a nice winning streak, and it seems like that Dodgers series, we were able to use it as fuel for our adversity as the Brewers offers Cal Raleigh for Johnny Hackman. I'm surprised why so many teams want him, but again, given how well he's played, I'm not very interested in trading him. He's having a really good year, .9 WAR already. I'm going to decline that. We're going to hop into this next game against the Pirates, looking to make it 5 in a row. We are up 4-2. But the Dodgers are getting a little something going here with MVP candidate Jordan Beck up. Liner to third, Murakami makes the play. If only those guys were covering the bases, though, we could have ended the game. C.J. Abrams, another one of the Pirates additions here at the top of the order, ahead 3-0. Has the green light and rips it into right. At the track, at the wall, it is caught by Hackman. And the San Francisco Giants have now won, count it, 5 in a row. As we take this one 4-2, and no matter what happens in the last game, we will win the series in Pittsburgh against a great Pirates team. So we would end up losing the last game, though. We don't get the sweep. And that brings us here to Queens, continuing our East Coast road trip against the Mets. Tied at 1, top of the 10th inning. We've got 2 runners on base and a great opportunity to do some damage. We lost the first game against New York, so we're not looking for another potential long losing streak as Rogers hits it up the middle. That one goes for a single. We're going to look to score the go-ahead run. He is safe. The other runner is safe at third, and we're going to send Rogers as well. He makes it over to second base. So it's 2-1. We've got 2 runners in scoring position now. And the following batter, Kyler Rodriguez, will be intentionally walked. So the bases are now loaded, dear God, for Stone Garrett. And it looks like we're finally going to deliver. 1 run scores. Rogers looks to join, and the speedster is safe. It's 4-1. San Francisco, and that's all she wrote. We take the win here, tying the series up at 1. A good extra innings win here for us. Now, unfortunately, we would lose the last game against the Mets. We don't get the series win. But we do get some good news. Jung-Hoo Lee is back after missing the last month and a half with an injury. We have missed him dearly. So Brendan Davis, who actually has played pretty well, will go back down to AAA. And then we take 2 of 3 against the Phils. So we are 35-22, a game out of first place going into June. The Padres are continuing to be really impressive. They had the best record in baseball. The Rangers are second on that list. We get to see Texas early in June. Definitely going to play that game in the next episode, being that it's a World Series rematch. And then I think July, we've got to play against Atlanta, right? Our first opportunity against the Braves after beating them in the playoffs last year. So in the next episode, we're going to make it through the summer months. We're going to get through June and July. We're going to make it up to the trade deadline. We're going to go through the All-Star break, the MLB draft, along with 2 more months for our San Francisco Giants. I hope everyone enjoyed. Let me know what you thought of the video format down below in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.